I've been out of Heartlands, and we went to hit Lynn, and there's some absolutely cromless fucking minges that sit there in fighters 24/7, and they put fucking CVs and trucks on their fucking runway, and you only have a split.
Up the runway.
Yeah, that's fucking retarded.
Okay.
That's
I
retarded.
give you a clip.
But hold on, hold on.
It's game design.
No, it's not.
That's
so dumb.
You put trucks. You put flatbeds on your BBs to avoid.
Dude.
No, but Berg, you put flatbeds on your BB to avoid them dying to artillery. It's called armoring up your runway. You do the same shit.
Also, 404 covered their tier 2 runway in containers. I'm not even joking.
Like, I think it's all bad.
It was literally the entire runway.
I think it's horrible.
Covered in like
but
2 to
point
3,000.
being, we tried multiple attempts to go hit Lynn, and we would get suplexed every fucking time. I can show you every single bombing run we did. We got suplexed 3 fucking times. They had shit on the runway every single fucking time. Yeah. That is not us not trying. Yeah. We tried with 9 bombers.
But yeah, what's your opinion? What's your opinion about collies not being able to launch a single bombers because all the runways are wind-bombed?
You lost the storm cannon race. Get fucked. Like, unfortunately, it's just it's an escalation of the storm cannon race. It's the same that we usually had for storm cannons back in the days. They removed the storm cannon race. Now it's airstrip race. You guys had 24 hours advance in bombers on us, and somehow your tier 2 runways are down. Like, lock in. I don't know. Suicide your bombers.
We bombed everywhere we can on the fucking west coast, and we got fucking diddled, bro. Like,
I also don't try to disregard your personal effort. It's just, I know a lot of people think that V is a bunch of cheaters.
Classic fresh diesel.
But V Discord is where every single Warden vet coordinates. You have no idea how many Reggies and how many individual people are logging into coordinating to fuck every one of your airways. Like, we have every time zone logged in with exact timers of all of your runways when they will get dry again. And everyone makes sure that your runways will never be dry again for this entire war.
Unfortunately, there is just some things in the balance of the game right now that makes it easier to do that level of collaboration on the Warden side than the Cuddy side. And that's not just like brain rot. There is just some stuff that it's easier for Warden gear, certain Warden gear, to make it so trivial to supply it so that it gets to the point where every single player, when they get into a hex, is playing with the maximum amount of like damage and potential that they can do over the other side.
What comes up to your mind, if I may ask?
Legendary, I think you've kicked the hornet's nest in the chat.
I know I'm going to kick the hornet's nest. I'm not going to kick the hornet's nest. But
no, go for it. It's okay. I mean, everyone can have their own opinions, right?
Okay, so look, there are, when it comes down to like, it's I feel like it's every part of interacting with Warden gear versus Cuddy gear makes it incredibly difficult to get people to motivate it to go one step up. The clear-cut example that I can go with right now, because I'm very passionate about this, is Naval. I really want collies to get more into Naval.
Naval is dead, man. Naval is dead.
Okay, just hear me out. You asked for it. Okay. Hear me out, right?
Yeah.
It took the devs 2 years to get our gunboats reworked twice. I make one point here. It's incredibly easy to say, yeah, but you guys we just need to collaborate more, and you need to share resources more. The difficulty comes in when the resources that we share on the collie side are just factually less effective. When you're capped at the number of players that get into the server, that means that what they have on their player character and what they're driving matters the most, because you're playing with what you have on the server slot.
No, I agree.
What you're
saying.
Yeah. So for me,
but what is the gear? Like, come on, we need to rage bait here a bit more. Come on, we need to fire up.
But okay, right. So first of all, it took the devs 2 years to give us a gunboat, which is the entry-level naval asset to get into the game, right?
Not anymore.
But to go fight. The problem is, yes, the problem right now is if you take out a gunboat as a colonial, you're dead. Your gunboat is dead the moment you leave the seaport because the fucking scout plane kills it. Dude, just co-play Warden because all the gear is easier to play with. It's less hassle, and it gets to the point where the veteran players have so much shit that they just give shit away because they have better higher tier gear to play with. Like, for example, Graf, you just said that the only thing that you've been playing in has been bombers. Cool. Where's your stack of outlaws going? Is your regiment playing with it? Probably. But there's also a high likelihood that if someone comes to you and says, hey, can I have some outlaw? You'll probably give them 5 and you won't bat an eyelid. Because you don't care about it. Because you're playing
I'm not bankrolling guys I don't know. No. I'm not bankrolling randoms. I only bankroll vets.
Okay, whatever. But still.
In my opinion, randoms don't move fronts. It's always vets and veggies.
Yeah.
I'm not bankrolling randoms.
Okay, fair enough. All right, but the point I'm saying is this was one example, right? I think in every other aspect of just in general, the gear that you have on the Warden side tends to be a lot less effort required to use. So for example, most of the Warden like mid to late game weapons tend to one-shot kill you.
Which one?
There's like 2 weapons that do that on the Kali side.
Which one?
It is the Dusk, if you're really fucking lucky, and the Fashina. Those are the only 2. On the Warden side, it is the Polaroid shotgun. It one-shots you. Then you have the Booker, which is still fucking strong. You now have the Alto in single shot mode that you either die instantly to being hit from mid to long range. Sorry, short to medium range, or you get staggered and you die from mid to long range. The Alto in single shot mode is fucking bananas. Then you have the Ratka.
So is the Catena.
No, what? Wait, the Katina, the auto rifle.
The auto rifle, yeah.
By the way, the Alto is impossible to one shot.
That's
and semi-automatic, it's 63.
Yeah, but all right, but then you also have the Hangman that 2 taps, and then you have the Racket.
The Hangman can also one shot, like the Volta.
So you have like 6 fucking weapons.
Please, I just want to make sure.
Yeah.
You use objectively as if you are absolutely correct. I just highly recommend you to change that word to subjectively. Maybe you are very convinced of your own opinion.
The majority of entry-level gameplay experience universally is better on the Warden side because the gear tends to function better if you are playing at server capacity. If you are a one player in a 120 slot, if you're one player in a 120 space server, if you have superior gear, which is either the infantry gear or the tanks or the artillery or the aircraft or anything like that, if you have the better shit, you have a better time when you play the game.
Yeah, and you think you have the better shit, and I say we don't.
Well, dog, I see every single Warden vet play with a Booker and Alto. I see every Warden vet play in a tier 3 Outlaw. I see every Warden vet play in a Predator. I see every Warden vet play in a Bomber.
And I can go pull up my VOD from last night. I literally got gunned down by Bookers like 90% of my gameplay. And I had a Dusk in my hand every fucking time. Right? Both are super annoying.
When is the last time you played Warden?
What was
to my knowledge,
right
never.
After? Well, no, I've never played Able.
The other time you said never.
I've never played Able.
Yeah, but no, Charlie doesn't matter. Who cares about Charlie performance? There's only dogs running around there.
I played
like literally no one on Charlie knows how to play the game.
Well, just because I play Warden on Charlie doesn't mean I can't play with the gear that's on Able, no?
Yeah, but you face idiots. It doesn't matter. if you guys...
When you have asymmetry gameplay, there's a bunch of bullshit that you have to iron out before things are even, right?
But this war was not one-sided at any given point. Like,
no,
1.5 weeks ago, like you guys... I think we are now in lead. You guys, for 85% of this war, were in lead in VPs, and you had us on our back.
Right, but look at the Tekken when it happened. Look in the Tekken when it happened, though, Graf. We didn't have bombers.
Way after everything teched.
We didn't take. If you go look at the time that we took Stiltkin, Weather, and all this shit, when did we take all that ground?
Late war, after bombers teched. You killed Foxcatcher with RSCs.
Right.
Yeah, what's the issue?
So my point and what I'm trying to get at is a majority of the ground is taken only after all the bullshits come out, right?
That's not true. You took Endless day 1. We started with Saltbrook Blue. Clustra, Narthex is neutral. We are not even at starting conditions and your faction locks off. Can we please stop pretending as if this entire thing is a giga equipment issue if one of the faction locks off before we even reach starting conditions of the war? Like, Wardens defended Weathering Halls with all what they had. We somehow survived in Port of Rhyme against CGC Onslaught every fucking 5 AM EU time. And as soon as we take back our starting territory, we talk about how everything all of a sudden is busted, while we get our skull fucked by 404 Cuff and 1 CMD vet stacks. Those vet stacks locked off, we push, and all of a sudden it's an equipment issue.
Hold up. That's not my argument. That's not.
I know what your argument
just-
is. Your argument is valid that this spam faction bullshit doesn't work. That's also why every
Yes.
stat got adjusted. Because the MPT is cheaper and you can get more into the hex. It doesn't work if your pop is limited. The equipment needs to be at least somewhat on the same balance and performance.
Well, that's
because
exactly
you have a
what
player
my
cap, not
argument
equipment
is.
cap.
That's exactly what I was saying, Graf. If you have a 5% increase on any given item over a duration of the war, it's going to fucking matter a lot.
No. It has nothing to do with equipment over performance in a war. It has to do with specifics. The thing is that.
Well, then what is that not just saying the
Asymmetry.
exact same thing I just said?
No, because you make it a general statement without the inclusion of the servers, and that's the biggest issue. Because your servers are pop capped, and they will never increase the pop cap or remove it because the engine is not capable of it. So your equipment needs to perform, at least in certain aspects, at least as good as the other. I agree. I agree on that. I just don't think it's as outrageous as you guys make it to be.
But
there
okay,
is certain factors. There is certain factors that certain.
But if you don't have to deal with the 5%, then it would, right? It's always insane to me when you talk about
argument,
it.
So what's your argument? You want like what was it? Which update did it?
So like, hold up, but Graf, here's my, just to dial this back. Here's my argument, right?
Yeah.
If you're,
I get your argument, by the way, Legendary. I think we both agree. Yeah. But I don't see the specific. You have to point out to me the gear which you think is so outrageously overperforming that it makes an actual difference. Because within the scope of asymmetry, you will always have gear that outshines the other gear in specific elements.
Yes. I understand. I understand what you're saying. I can point to specific examples. I can point to specific examples. I could probably point for an hour. And this is not me brain rot faction bullshit, because I do swap.
Well,
you
say that
factions.
before you say it. I mean,
no,
I
know, dude. But I do play the side. I do play Warden.
Yeah, but you also play the other side in the backline. Like, I don't try to shit on you for that, because it's a very important part of the faction. But there's a huge difference for not just do you spend time on the front line, but how do you spend it on the front line?
I mostly spend time on the front line as partisan, tanking, artillery. Those three roles. I don't sit in the trench. I don't push build. Sure, I don't. There's some things I don't do. I'm fairly sure there's some things that you don't do. Like, for example, you don't play infantry. So for you to say also like, the Booker and etc. is not OVP, but you just said at the start of this podcast, like, you play infantry for the like day 1, day 2, and the moment you can get into a plane or you can get into a thing, you also log off. But that's fair. But the point I'm trying to make is, I also probably disproportionately so interact with a lot of new players. I teach a lot of players how to play the game. A lot of people log on to Foxhole. They go to the able screen, and there's a big red marker over the Warden side that says, if you click here, you're going to wait forever to play the game. So they tend to pick on the colonial side. They load into the thing and say, hey, I'm new. How do I play?
Also, not true. Legendary. No, I have to interrupt you. It's not true. Until you guys started logging off, this red screen switched every day. It's not true that for the entire war, Wardens were red.
Okay,
while you are right, and that's important, because this war, a lot of people logged in. Like, you have good takes, and then you intertwine them with stuff that is not factually right, and that always undermines your argumentation. It's the same stuff all over. Yeah.
The problem is, once it starts getting to the point where the majority of weapons seem to be more lopsided for Wardens, there tends to be a bit of a problem. Now, let me go into this, but now let me go into the specific examples, right? So I gave you specific examples that Warden weapons tend to one-shot a little bit more on infantry. That is just an objective truth. There is just some weapons on the Warden side.
Start listing and I give you the counter. Yeah, start listing and I give you the counter.
So infantry gear seems to be a little bit, generally speaking, Wardens tend to one-shot things a little bit more.
Start naming it. You always make a generalistic statement and you don't back it up. Okay. Come on, name stuff and I give you the content.
I listed it earlier, but let me continue. Let me continue. Right, Naval specifically right now is incredibly Warden favored, because on top of, generally speaking, having better naval gear for the longest time, for the last 2 years, you guys have had the better naval gear. all the new shit that was added to balance things out now got completely fucked over by the state of the Warden scout plane. Am I wrong in that? Or is that just
so,
like
yes.
am I making?
Yes, I think so as well.
So if you take out if your colleague takes out any of the small boats,
No, I think you're wrong on that as well, Legendary. I think you're wrong on that as well, because you again generalize
Hey,
stuff.
stop
you cannot
interrupting
generalize.
him. Let him talk, because I don't. We can't let him get his full point out. Let him talk, and then have your point after.
If a new player loads into Foxhole and they go, okay, I really want to play Foxhole. I want to play the Naval stuff. Would you recommend them playing on Kali? Sincerely, for them to enjoy the game.
There's more than just gear to it. But you can play Collie and go Naval. You just have to win one specific regiment. Or you get lucky and Cuff is Collie as well. As this war, you have 2 Collie regiments that are good enough to play against Warden Navy regiments. Yes. It's like whoever is this here, VF guys as the only one that somewhat regularly do Navy, and the other one is Cav.
But is Navy worth it at the moment, even?
Yes.
No, it's dead on both sides. It's dead on both sides because of bombers. Has nothing to do with Navy gear.
Yeah, Navy's pointless right now. It's pure LARP.
Like, we can start from the beginning. We can talk about this Navy stuff. Okay, we talk about naval release. Our gunboat was probably better. Was it that much better that you can't play Navy?
Probably.
I don't know. Our submarine was unusable. It was LARP. The torpedoes did nothing. Every collie that tells me that the submarine on release was anything but dog shit didn't play it. It didn't do large shoals. It didn't do damage. You needed 2 submarines to alpha kill anything with HP. Everyone that says it did large shoals on release, every opinion redacted. Irrelevant. Yepper. You guys had a DD that could free roam everything and fuck up everything until we unlocked our BB. And you still somehow lost that update war on Navy as well. Weird. So, then...
It doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things if your Navy scout plane or your scout plane can dumpster our boats better than our scout plane can dumpster your boats. You're writing that off as it's not a big deal, but when you generally are trying to make something happen and you have that advantage over and over and over again, would that not incentivize you to not keep wanting to do the same things, like to keep attempting?
Perfect. Yeah, I know where you're going. Okay, where are we pushing right now? Is it land or Navy?
Where did your push start in Westgate?
Yeah, so we can
hold on, but where did it start in Westgate?
Yeah.
It started at the Gallows with Navy, right? We didn't have that same opportunity. Okay, so henceforth.
Gallows did not die to Navy.
Was it not a landing that started that?
All of our
Gallows got land pushed. Gallows got land pushed.
All of our advances are right now on land. And all of your arguments, out of a Warden perspective, Lunaire is doing the same shit to PvE that our scout plane, like, it's easier to use, it is slightly better, it does not get fucked by a fucking barbed wire fence. It's a cut of 1,000 needles. How do we manage to win land now? Like, if the scout plane single-handedly defeats Navy, and the Lunaire, out of a Warden perspective, single-handedly wins the infantry PvE war, how do we win land then?
Not really find more than 2 Wardens. You would have us 3 again. GrafMeer and another Warden, possibly. I mean, I've seen on the chat right now Von Klaus, Alder, Engineer.